the Tiger of old. We're strong.
The round 6 changes are in, Tiger folks, for our game up against Gold Coast. And there's a couple of real doozies in there, it must be said. And I'm not even talking about the Noah Bolter one, funnily enough. But the ins for round 6, we've got Noah Bolter coming back. We've got Samson Ryan coming in for his first game for a little while, which is really, really interesting. Although he was one of the best on ground in the previous VFL match, so maybe they're going off that. And we've also got Sam Lawler coming back in after his hip soreness, so that's really good to get him back into the side. The outs for this week, we've got Tyler Sonsie going out, which is really, really unfortunate, but it kind of felt like it had to be. You watch him go back to the VFL, play in the middle and get 35 touches and 10 clearances. You can almost bookmark it. Jacob Bauer is out as well, which we kind of felt like would happen because he'd been sub 2 weeks in a row. And usually if you sub 2 weeks in a row, you've got to then play a full game somewhere. It's kind of the method behind the thinking from a fitness perspective. So he'll go back to the VFL this week to play a full game. But the other omission, which is really bizarre and I'm trying to work out, is Jacob Blight. Yeah, a little bit surprised with Jacob Blight being out. I thought he'd been doing a really good amount of work as the ruckman / forward. Given he was kind of learning it on the fly, I thought he did quite well. Presented up forward really nicely, kicked a couple of goals. The only thing I can maybe think of is maybe he's going back to the VFL to continue to play forward and to play ruck, to keep plying his craft, is the only thing I can think of. So Samson Ryan being his direct replacement, I guess from a ruck sense, Samson Ryan is a better pure ruckman than what Jacob Blight is. In a lot of ways, and I don't mean this controversially, but from a tap perspective, Samson Ryan is a better tap ruckman than Toby Nankervis is because he's a lot taller. So he can actually get first use of the ball when he's rucking well. It's the around the ground stuff that is the really interesting discussion point. You look at Jacob Blight's body of work when he's played up forward. He's crashing packs, he's leading into space really well, taking some nice grabs, like marking's one of his strong suits. And Samson Ryan, that's probably the biggest bugbear that people have got about what's missing from his game at AFL level. We saw it in the VFL the other week. He actually, in their most recent VFL game, he actually took quite a lot of marks around the ground, contested, uncontested, and he was arguably one of the best on ground. So if we're basing it off that kind of form line, I can understand it. But I feel like this has got more to do with the rucking side of things and maybe to try and prolong how long our midfielders can stay in the game for after half time is maybe my thought on that. Look, it's no secret. I've really been hoping that Samson Ryan comes on. His pre-season, he was looking good, but it just sometimes doesn't translate to AFL level, does it? And I know there's going to be a lot of people who have written him off and think this is a waste of time, but the selection panel has gone with him and they reckon he's got something to offer, so we'll have to just, see how that pans out. But what I've actually done is I've gone and put together my predicted team for round 6 in terms of position. Now, I know that the lineup's already been released on the AFL website, and I don't know, that's not always totally accurate. This is more what I would like to see rather than how I think it'll end up happening. So there might be a bit of a blend of both, I guess, but we'll go through it anyway. Backline, I've gone Nathan Broad, Noah Bolter to slot straight in at fullback. I think he'll get the job on Ben King on the back of Ben Miller having a bit of a down week against Tracy. Look, maybe Uze will try and back Miller in to show some confidence and give him the Ben King job, but I think pound for pound, if we're talking speed, strength, things like that, it has to be Noah Bolter. Nick Vlosten in the other back pocket. Half-back lines, I've gone Tom Brown, Ben Miller and Jaden Short. So we had Keegan on before talking about the Gold Coast game on behind front of me lines, and he mentioned that the other big forwards that the Gold Coast Suns have got are fairly inexperienced and raw. So while they're good prospects for them now, they're not as big of a threat as what a Ben King is, obviously. So that could be a good one for Miller to try and get to work on and work off him and maybe help double team King and help out Noah Bolter. So that could be an area we maybe try to look to exploit somehow. Tom Brown on the half-back line. We mentioned it on the Monday night show. We loved seeing him do those 45-degree angle kicks. In the second half, when the game was kind of cooked, he was still trying to take the game on. If I'm the defenders, we're trying to get the ball into his hands as much as possible. That would be what I would love to see. On the wings, Hugo Ralph-Smith and James Trezise. Hugo had a really good return game, covered some serious ground. And do yourself a favour, guys. Watch, and he's going to let me down here now that I've said this. No, he won't. He'll do it. The amount of unrewarded running that he does is phenomenal. Like, when I say unrewarded running, I mean he might sprint 30, 40, 50 metres into space to call for the ball. Won't get the ball, but it opens up a pocket of space behind him for someone else to run into. It's that kind of stuff that's so helpful in a team environment. So Hugo on the wing, and Trezise, I think we need to keep persisting here. He's had some good moments. Still learning the role, to be honest. So yeah, I think we'll keep rolling with that. Half forward line, Seth Campbell, Jonty Fall, and Sammy Lawler. I'd love to see, I know the fairy tale of everyone wants to see Morris on Daniel Rioli, which I think will happen at some point, but I think Seth Campbell might get a bit of a job on him because Seth can be quite dangerous the other way on a more consistent basis. So I'd love to see Seth making Dan Rioli accountable on the weekend. Jonty Fall for his second game, he's just got to bash and crash and bring the ball to ground like he was. Sammy Lawler back. Would love to see some more midfield minutes. And again, similar to Tom Brown, get the ball into Lawler's hands because the dude can seriously kick. He can hit a target and it makes a huge difference. So fingers crossed we can see another 24-25 disposal game from Sam. Full forward line, Morris Rioli Jr., Tom Lynch and Steely Green. Again, like I said before, Morris will probably spend some time on Daniel Rioli. I think they'll manufacture it. They'll make it work. Looking for another first half like last week for Morris, which was really good. Kicked a couple of goals, was up and about early. Potentially we might see Seth and Morris swap positions, and I say that because I think Morris works better when he pushes up higher up the ground to get around the contest more, get some early possession, some link-up handball chains. He might be able to break from the line from the back half turnover, things like that. So I wouldn't mind seeing him potentially push up a bit high, to be honest. Tommy Lynch at full forward. Love Tom Lynch. It's lunchtime. But we do need a bit more out of him. And I don't necessarily mean more goals, as much as that would obviously be a huge bonus. But for me, it's about making sure that his opponents held accountable so they can't mark the ball. He's just got to make sure he gets body on body and brings that ball to ground to give us half a chance if he can't mark it himself. So I want to see a bit more from that from Tom this week. And Steely Green snapping at the feet. Kicked one of the goals of the year, didn't he, on the weekend against Freo? So hopefully we can see another beauty like that. In the ruck, Nankervis, going to be a huge battle against Witts, who I think is really underrated, to be honest. Nank's going to have his work cut out for him, and it's kind of why I don't mind the idea of Samson Ryan coming in, because if we can work over Jared Witts, who is a very, very good ruckman and very fit and around the ground as well, I think that could be a good ploy. And Ryan can go forward as well. Does it make us too slow, though? That's probably the ultimate question, I guess, which we'll find out on game day. Tim Taranto, Jack Ross and Jacob Hopper in the middle. Now, I shake my head because we'll probably see this midfield from the start, and it will probably work really well for a quarter or two again, like it's done the last couple of weeks. When and if things start to go to shit in the second half, that's when I want to see things mixed up. Chuck a Steely Green in there, chuck a Seth Campbell and a Morris Rioli Jr. in there, not all at the same time, but blend it up, mix and match, and just try and get some energy in there and some life. Yeah, I don't know. We're just going to see what happens there, I guess. Interchange, I've gone Thompson Dow, Sam Banks, Samson Ryan, Luke Traynor. Luke Traynor could quite easily start on the field and Short could start on the bench, to be honest. I wouldn't be against that. And I've gone Camden McIntosh as the sub. I don't know. I'm not sold on that, even my own mind, because I know, and you all probably know, that we're going to need Camden McIntosh to tag Noah Anderson. So that probably doesn't work. So upon reflection, maybe it's someone like a Jack Ross who's sub, potentially. He didn't have the best of games last week, so Camden can tag Noah Anderson. Jack Ross can come on later in the game. I don't like having a tall as a sub, so I don't think the Samson Ryan won't work as sub. Sam Banks, I think, has been playing reasonably well, so he'll play somewhere on the ground. Thompson Dow could be sub as well, potentially, so maybe swap those two around. Any one of those mixes, yeah, I think will be the answer for the sub role. But anyway, that's my predicted team for round 6. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Have I got anything slightly wrong? Where do you see other players playing? It's all open for interpretation. But yeah, it should be a really interesting game. Again, we just want to see some green shoots against the Gold Coast Suns. First half, hopefully we can stick with them. You would love to see that extend into the third quarter a little bit. But upon doing the behind frenemy lines tonight, I think it's kind of dawned on me that the reason why we fall apart so badly in the second half is because we still persist with the midfield of Taranto, Hopper, Dow, Ross, McIntosh for the entirety of the game. They're probably just exhausted. Like, they're not getting much of a rest because they're attending especially Hopper and Taranto are attending almost every centre bounce, both of them. And the other guys are heavily involved as well. So it could simply be a fatigue thing, which is why I want to see some other names in there. But again, I'm not the coach, and there's probably a really good reason why it doesn't happen that way that we don't know about, which is fine. They don't owe us an explanation. It's just us venting our frustration, I guess. But yeah, anyway, that is the team. So make sure you let us know in the comments below what you're thinking. And if you like the Richmond content, make sure you like and subscribe for more. We're getting closer to 2,600 subscribers on YouTube, which is amazing. And we thank you all for your love and support. And until the next one, go Tigers.